3D Manager. It's all about a 360-degree tool for your leaders and managers. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben Lawton. I'm a development consultant at DPG. DPG are a CIPD approved centre, and we are the preferred supplier for the CIPD's Level 7 Advanced Diploma. We are an ILM accredited centre, one of the few centres with direct claim status, which we're very pleased and proud of. And also we run in-house programmes at all levels for the ILM, all over the country, and we're currently doing an open programme as well at Level 5 for coaching and mentoring. We are the UK partners and European providers of Kirkpatrick evaluation. Jim Kirkpatrick is at the event over the next couple of days, and he'll be on our stand just over there, 410, for a large parts of this afternoon, so please come along if you want to talk to him. And we're also the UK licence holders for MAP 2.0, which is an objective assessment. It's known as the most objective assessment available in the marketplace anywhere in the world. So DPG, we've been going for over 22 years, and all in all we've qualified over 5,000 CIPD professionals. ILM qualified over 8,000 managers, and taught people how to use the Kirkpatrick model over 250 times. So when we're not providing qualifications, let's have a little look at what we're doing for our clients. We provide assistance and help with things like talent management, also succession planning. We look at setting standards, or in some instances creating standards, so things like introducing competency frameworks. We help them with their organisational development, so we help plan that, but also deliver some of the organisational development too. Provide benchmarking against internal teams and parts of the group, but also externally against others. Skills gap analysis, it's obviously quite a big one. We look at how to identify where the skills are and how to fill them. And of course the evaluation piece that we've already mentioned. Now, the way that we help these organisations is that we use a range of assessment tools, so things like subjective assessments, personality assessments, and competency assessments. Now, I don't know what it is like for you, but personally when I look at all of these areas on one slide, it all seems to be a little bit clearer for me rather than jumping from individual area to individual area. And recent survey by the CIPD on learning and talent development said that one of the biggest challenges that are facing organisations over the next couple of years is doing exactly this. It's looking at these areas as one puzzle rather than individual pieces, and linking talent management to skills gap analysis, to setting standards, to benchmarking and so on. And one of the reasons for that is because different individuals are working on these set objectives, and the information and the data that they create is not easily shared amongst the business. So that's what 3D Manager is all about. It's about being able to help with all of these areas in one place. So let's introduce 3D Manager. It's incorporating what we know, so the skills that people have within, what we do, so do they deliver, and also how they do it, so the personality and the styles in regards to how they work and relate to other people. Quick question, are you getting the best from your managers? All right? Mind the gap. The reality is that 98%, according to that recent CIPD survey, say that they realise that there are large gaps in the knowledge and the skills of their management team. You can see there right at the bottom, there's 2%. For those that do need help, the areas that they've identified are areas like performance management, coaching, mentoring, developing staff, leading and managing change, leading people management, all the way down to things like communication and interpersonal skills. What's confusing though is that these are purely areas that should have more subheadings to them. So if you look at things like communicating, it could be anything from presentation skills, it could be listening and organising, it could be receiving information clearly and without bias, and so on and so on. It's actually a lot more to it than these broad categories. So how do you find out exactly what's needed within a business and who needs it? Well, let's look at the key benefits of 3D Manager and help to discover that. So this is an image of supposedly a senior leadership team in cartoon form, or a training team, and what we're offering is the opportunity to look at a 360-degree view of your management. we can start to fill in the gaps at each level of management within an organisation, so we can start to see the levels of competence and the level of behaviours that they're providing. We can also start to identify specific individuals for specific areas of development. Looking at the 3 dimensions of 3D Manager then, we first start with a competency assessment. We use the objective assessment for that, so we're taking away human opinion, human ideas in regards to what they think is good or think is bad, and we look at taking away that bias, if you like, and looking specifically at what's inside, what are the bones, what do they know. We then look at personality, their style for management, how they communicate with other people, and their personal styles and how that affects their behaviours at work. And we look at the subjective side of things. Yes, it's very important to look at the core, look at the bones, what do they know, but are they putting that into practice? So obviously very vital. And when we start to put all 3 of these dimensions together, we start to picture up a much better picture in regards to the management expertise within our organisations. For those that don't know this gentleman, this is Hannibal Smith. He was a leader of a crack commando unit that in 1972 was sentenced to prison by a criminal court for a crime he didn't commit. Now, Hannibal Smith was leader of a very good team, the A-Team in fact. Now, the A-Team is vital here because he's actually a very good example of a team that works very well together and understands individual roles. Hannibal Smith, he's the leader. He's the man with the plan. If he needed someone to talk to a lady and smooth talk them, he would go with face. If he needed some muscle, some brawn, other than choosing me, he'd probably go for B.A. Baracus. But if he needed someone to fly a helicopter or a car or an aeroplane, then Murdoch would be his man. And because he understood the styles of his team and exactly what they were good at, they were able to do things amazing with things as simple as a paper clip, burnt out car, always welding equipment was available. They could create some amazing things. So what data will the 3D view give you in your organisation? Well, we've talked about managerial strength. We're going to be able to look at that. That is going to identify clear development plans. It also will identify whether there's issues with attitude or process. When we're looking at the objective understanding of someone's strength and we can see that they're not delivering, we can start to work out, well, why is that? Is that because they don't want to coach and mentor? Or is it because there are actually processes in place that stop them from doing that? And all in all, it gives access to all the solutions to look at that big puzzle piece that we saw earlier on. Look at the whole puzzle and all those business objectives together as one piece of work. We've mentioned Kirkpatrick. Objective evaluation allows you to get stats a little bit like this, where we have seen the increase in competence against 12 competencies from one year to the next following development work. Let's go a little bit deeper then into how these dimensions work. The first dimension uses the MAP assessment. I said right at the beginning, we're the licence holders in the UK for it. And it's an objective assessment that's introduced by Jackie. Some might recognise her from Channel 4 News, I think it is. Now Jackie talks you through how it works. It's online, and they go through online video tutorials where you follow a management team going through daily tasks. In this instance, they're discussing a problem, but it includes recruitment, it includes board meetings, dealing with issues and the like. It goes through all of them. And following the video assessments, they're asked a series of questions, which they either agree or disagree with. That starts to build up a picture, which then provides them with a report telling them how their level of competence aligns against 12 generic competencies of management that were put together from some very high-tech research in the 90s. And you benchmark that against other first-line managers or other teams or departments. In this case, it's first-line managers, but in fact, over 150,000 managers have gone through this objective assessment, which allows an awful large scope to be able to say, how do we compare as a business in comparison to similar businesses out there? Second dimension, management styles. This is McGregor's management style, Douglas McGregor. It goes back quite a long time, in the 60s that McGregor's style was sort of first came about, and it looks at adults to adults, theory Y and theory X, parent to child, and how that affects the way that people manage. We also look at personal styles. This is Carl Jung's work. A little bit later, I think 1974, he published his works, and his idea was that there are 4 prominent styles within each of us, easier to see in children than adults, but they're a combination of thinker, sensor, intuitor, and feeler. And then lastly, when we're assessing the styles, we look at communication styles. Are people communicating in an empathic way? Are they critical of others? Do they search for more information about the subject, or are they giving advice constantly on what they feel that you should do? The third dimension, slightly different. We've already mentioned this is a subjective assessment, and we start to look at the critical behaviours that you expect from your management team. Now, you might be familiar with some of these critical behaviours. We might have your own, but ultimately what we're asking is this: what behaviour do you expect from your managers at different levels, first line, maybe aspiring managers, and so on? When you know what to expect, you can ask, are they delivering? Are they delivering always, usually, sometimes, or never? And you can ask that directly to them themselves, but you could also ask their direct report. You could decide to take it further and do more of a 360-degree approach and ask everybody to comment on everybody. But ultimately you find out, do they practice the desired behaviours? Now, this allows us to get the effective management data that gives us a real roundup of, do they do it? Can they do it? Picture of Bob the Builder, he can do it. But do they deliver it? Are they promising but not delivering, or are they going ahead and giving you everything that you need? It allows you to spend your money as a business in a much smarter way, plug in the gaps that you need to plug, as opposed to sheep dip training exercises where you're throwing money and hoping it's going to solve the problem. And it's allowing you to identify the talent within your business to work doing the best for the company that they can do. And really importantly, because it's connected and it uses the methodology of the Kirkpatrick model, we get to establish whether it has been worth it. When we look at whether it's been worth it, what we're looking for is to evaluate throughout a development program, not just at the end where we're saying, yeah, it's been good, no, it's been bad, but from the start and throughout, so you can make the relevant changes needed in order to avoid a disaster. What a disaster could look like is different for a lot of organisations. In this case, you may have seen this picture recently. This is the recent waxworks of Prince William. Someone really should have evaluated this earlier on and said, once the chin was done, there's something slightly wrong here, maybe make some small adjustments. Another great example, I feel, was David Beckham, which also doesn't have David, Mr. Golden Balls, looking his best. So that is a brief look at 3D Manager and the reasons why we feel that it could benefit a lot of organisations out there. It's been pioneered specifically for our clients. If you have any questions, please let us know. And if you want to come and speak to us afterwards, we're just over the road, 410, and we'll be able to talk to you in more depth about any of these individual dimensions or any further detail in regards to what we do as an organisation. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes. It's a great question. She asked, is it possible to use the map element on its own, independently of the others? Absolutely, yes. And what you'll find is that some organisations already have different pieces of the puzzle available to them. So if they've got that, there's no need to go through all this again. In fact, it would be quite confusing for employees to do that. So yes, absolutely, we can do that and bring in certain aspects of it, certain dimensions, if that's what you want to look at. And feel free to come and have a chat with us afterwards and we can tell you how that could work. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming and listening to me. Once again, my name is Ben Lawton, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.